I'm going to share some resources. We'll just kind of go through this. I apologize because nobody likes being handed a 6-page document with 10 million links on it. But we'll kind of go through some of these things. There a lot of this, I sent out like a little survey to all the presenters, and I asked about books and resources and things that they recommend. So that's where a lot of this came from. So we'll just kind of scroll through here, and then you can, I really encourage you, I know a lot of times we go to workshops and trainings, and then we leave and we don't think about it again sometimes. But if you have a chance in the next day or two to go home and take an hour and spend some time looking at some of these links, there's some amazing resources out there. So as far as training and certifications, it's not necessarily like, if I want to be an ecotherapist, here's the training I might go through. These are just a diverse mix of trainings that are out there for taking people into nature, engaging with nature, and some of it is nature-based therapy. So I'm gonna give a shout out to the first one there, the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy Guides and Programs, because that's the organization that I went through for the Forest Therapy Guide training that I did in 2021. And then our organization, Project Outdoors, sponsored a cohort last year where we had, I think it ended up being 12 folks that went through the training, and our organization got the grants to cover the cost of that, because it is about $4,000 a person. It's a 125-hour course. It's a 6-month course. It's online, but it's all live Zoom classes. You meet people from all over the place, but our cohort was specifically Southeast Minnesota, which is really unique. They don't do that usually. So we have a couple people in the room, actually, Gloria and Laura, who are going to be guiding the forest bathing walks after in a minute here. They were part of that cohort. So we have folks around the area. Anyways, that's the organization we went through. I know, now they tell us that they are the international leader in certification. They have more guides around the world, longest, most kind of well-researched program out there. But there's lots of other places, right? Because Samantha went through a different one. Natural Wellness Academy. So there's different ones out there that are a lot more accessible and cheaper, for sure. But I had a great experience. So the money was really the only otherwise, and I could pick for when I did it, I got to pick a cohort that worked with my schedule. They have cohorts going all the time, and you can pick ones that work with your schedule. So our cohort, unfortunately, they all had to do it when we had it scheduled, and that was tricky for some folks. Linda was here today with the Becoming Outdoors Woman program. They do lots of different workshops, classes, so that's something that you can subscribe on the DNR website and get their emails, and access their catalogs and their calendars. I don't have to read through every single one of these, or I'll be standing up here for forever. There's more about therapists' work. So if you've heard of Being and Belonging, these are coming up. That's an event coming up real soon here.
Actually, if I can just say something about that.
Do it.
Okay. So I am very newly the co-facilitator of the Being and Belonging retreat. The other co-facilitator had to drop out. But Sarah Lazarowitz is the therapist who leads it, and it's basically going to be a retreat for therapists and healers of all kinds who could just benefit from having a weekend of rest and restoration in nature on Lake Superior. It's going to be gorgeous. Check it out if you're
awesome. Do you still have open slots for that?
Yes, we do.
Super duper. Yeah, so I don't know enough about all of these. These were just recommended, so check them out. Yeah, climate, I know Becca's going to be joining us virtually for the panel, and she does a lot with climate and climate anxiety. I mean, she's specially certified in therapy for that. So that might be one of the resources she shared there. Eco-expressions using art. I think that was maybe another one Becca shared. Finding meaning outdoors. And that's kind of a network of folks that are doing kind of nature-based therapy. A lot of them are around the Twin Cities area, but you can click on individual guides and therapists and read more about the work they're doing. And they also coordinate different events where they come together. Actually, I met Becca because there was a garlic mustard pulling event in the Three Rivers Parks, and it was for therapists, and it was actually during COVID. And it was a way for mental health folks to get together with other humans and do something positive, pulling this invasive, displaced relative. I've been learning to call them instead of invasive species. So they do some things where they get together and do meetups and do things out in nature too, so that's kind of fun. Healthy schools, we have Jan Wellick who will be here from University of Wisconsin La Crosse, and she mentioned that one with the Green and Healthy Schools Wisconsin, but I'm pretty sure Minnesota has similar things for our schools. I know the Trust for Public Lands. I know you, Laura, host the summit for the school forest. That was amazing. They had like a panel of principals that are really engaged and involved in their school forest programs. It was just interesting to hear these case studies and perspectives from schools around the state. Nature-based therapy workshop series, Minnesota Master Naturalist. Have you guys ever heard of that program? I have to give a shout out to that because our photographer here today is a Minnesota Master Naturalist volunteer. So you've probably heard of the Master Gardener program because that's been around a lot longer. Master Naturalist program is also offered through the Extension Service. It's modeled on that same model. So folks, they pay to take a course, and it's a 40-hour certification course. They're offered all around the state at different nature centers and things. So Project Go, I'm an instructor for Master Naturalist. We offer courses. We did one in Winona last year at the public library. We had one in Spring Valley this spring. We did one up at Lake City last fall. So this 40-hour course, they get training on the natural history of the biome where they live. So there's 3 different biomes in Minnesota. Well, Ford with the little park, Aspen Man, is that what they call that one, right? Yeah. So I should roll my eyes on that. Why did I do that? Yeah. And then they're expected to volunteer at least 40 hours a year to maintain their certification. Now they don't take away your certification, but that's kind of the goal. At least 40 hours a year. Some of these folks put in hundreds, if not thousands of hours a year. A lot of them are retired folks. And our organization would not exist without the Master Naturalist program. But I'd like to give a shout out to them because they're involved in creating school forests and outdoor classrooms and leading nature walks in schools. They do a lot with education. And so that's a base of folks that you could tap into. Or if you're interested in learning more about the natural history of our area so that you feel more confident, taking people outdoors, that's a course you might want to take. It's a really awesome course or program. Okay, I don't know how it ends here. Oh, the DNR has all kinds of different educational resources based on, natural resources. So besides forestry, there's Project Wet, focusing on our waters. I put some of the curriculum up here. Project Wild, which I've been told they're kicking that off again, Laura, the Project Wild stuff.
It's around.
It sounds like they're looking at trying to get kickstart that. We had a lot of amazing people retire, and then those positions didn't necessarily get filled. But there's a ton of resources through the DNR. Ariel, you can jump in on that too if you want to add more to that. There's a bunch. I'd say check out that link because it lists just a ton of resources on that website. Parenting, informed by relationship with nature. There's a ton of stuff on here. Project O, we offer trainings and we have tons of resources. We have online trainings that are free. Check out our website. There's an initiative that you saw in your folder called Southeast Minnesota Park RX. It's a group of folks. We meet once a month, the second Monday of each month, online from 10 to 11 a.m. Every other month we bring in a guest speaker. We've had some really incredible speakers come in. Those are recorded as webinars. You can watch them for free access on YouTube. But we're really trying to work together to, like I said earlier, inspire and encourage and support the healthcare community. And that's you guys in this room, but then also like family medicine, pediatricians, and actually dentists, my eye doctor. Like there's people I've been talking to, they're like, yeah, we can be part of that. We can be part of that conversation. Physical therapists.
So like what's a typical topic or a topic?
Oh my gosh, it changes every time. We have a lady that's giving a talk next month that she works for Olmsted County Public Health, and she just wrapped up like her master's, and it was specifically on like nature prescriptions for kids. And then we have my optometrist, well I should say my son's, because he has myopia, he had to get glasses last year, and he's not getting enough outside time. You gotta have at least 2 hours a day exposed to the UV spectrums and the patterns in nature for healthy eye development. Did you know that? Because our pediatricians, I don't think know that, because they're not telling us that. Until they go and get the glasses, and they're like, dude, nobody told me that. So anyway, she was like, we have a specialty clinic in Rochester that reverses myopia if you can diagnose it before age 12. Contacts and special eye drops. I'm like, what? How come nobody knows this? And it's through Mayo Clinic, really. So anyway, she's gonna be talking coming up too. So we just bring in different folks that can share that information about how important it is to get outdoors and then some of the science behind what's going on there when we don't get outdoors. And I want to give a shout out to the University of Minnesota. Has a lot of really cool stuff going on. The Earl Bakken Center for Spirituality and Healing. And Ariel, I think I learned about this because of you and Dr. Jean Larson. But they offer some amazing webinars, classes, all kinds of things through that wing of the University of Minnesota. I'm sorry, I skipped the teacher field school. Can I let you talk about that, Kathy? Can you share about that?
Sure. The Teacher Field School is about 3 or 4 years old. It's a pretty intensive, nature-immersed teacher professional development program hosted in Camden. I'm a co-founder of it. 5 weekends in the woods, out in Marine on St. Croix, learning to be nature-based educators, integrating nature across the curriculum, math, science, social studies, arts, English language arts, STEM, etc. It's super fun, and teachers emerge really confident, competent, and ready to teach outdoors.
That's super exciting. And it's kind of a first of its kind, like it's a big deal.
It's a pretty unique model,
Yeah.
and it's certainly the only one in Minnesota that is in depth like that.
Right. Like it'd be nice if they future teachers, when they go to school to be trained, that's just the way we're trained, right? Like hopefully we'll get to that. Oh, I jumped over to Teach Outdoors Minnesota too. When COVID struck, it was tricky. And so a bunch of folks got together, environmental educators and teachers, to create resources to help folks do that outdoor teaching, because we were kind of thrown into like that's what you had to do during COVID. So there's a ton of resources from teachers all around the state, and it goes pre-K all the way up through seniors in high school, different activity ideas and just different lessons learned from teachers around the state. That's a nice resource. I don't know the nature of wholeness. Anybody in the room who recommended that one? I can't remember. I don't know much about that one there. But a ton of resources, so you can have fun and that should be on work time, right? You should really go spend some time looking through those things on work time. Say, Sarah said. Nature-based therapy resources. So I didn't know how, there was so much stuff. I was trying to break it down in something that made sense. Different types of groups you can get involved with or just see the work they're doing. Linda mentioned Casting for Recovery, the Children in Nature Network, which Kathy you're on the board of, right?
I'm the director of research.
Wow. So they've been doing amazing work, basically since this book came out, all around the world, and they have a ton of neat resources. I think for me, what's been the most useful from that network is the research library. And oh my gosh, so many peer-reviewed academic research articles, and then also the infographics.
Can I mention that I sent you might have seen your email, a whole bunch of links from Children in Nature Network.
Oh,
I think
nice.
you would send it out to me.
Yes, for sure.
And then I also included a PowerPoint, my PowerPoint.
Oh, good. Yes, we'll make sure that gets sorted out. I was also going to say, Wilderness Inquiry, you guys referenced a couple things earlier today, and if there's any links that we can share with folks, that would be amazing. So, let's see. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Climate Psychology Alliance, Finding Outdoors pops up in a couple places. Fly fishing groups, the Minnesota Children and Nature Connection. Now, I know that was pretty big early on. Are they still doing stuff?
Yes, although I have been involved in it quite a while, so I
Okay.
don't remember exactly.
Yeah, because it was a thing for early on there, and then I haven't heard much about it, but somebody sent that link, add that too, so.
Can I mention one thing? They did put out a pretty amazing guide to essentially becoming a more nature-based early childhood care and
Oh, okay.
education facility, and it's available through what? I can't
Does
remember.
MDE have it? No?
It might, yes. I think it's available on MDE
Okay.
website. Yeah.
Because I don't know if I put that on here, I should have. MDE has a great, if you're early childhood,
Yeah.
ooh, what do they call that webpage? It's like outdoor learning. Oh, it's incredible.
Pretty much early childhood.
Yes, and there's a, oh,
Three.
okay, up through age 3.
And
And there's
8
a,
years old through third grade.
oh, okay. What I liked was the webinars, and I have to get my CEUs too because I'm a develop trainer. You're familiar with daycare providers, now you have to get certified, all this stuff, sorry. And so to be able to do those trainings, I have to go through these. So I watch all the webinars, boom, get my hours in. Because I qualified, they all qualified. But there's some neat resources on that MDE too. And Ariel talked about Minnesota Children's Outdoor Bill of Rights earlier. Project Healing Waters, they were here today. Recreational Alliance of Winona, kind of bringing it specifically to our area. I mentioned the Southeast Minnesota Park RX. This is a lot of stuff. There's the Winona Outdoor Collaborative. Many of you participated in any of their programs, field trips, they do all kinds of neat stuff. all kinds of outdoor recreation-based experiences through that organization. And then there's a bunch of different articles and resources, books, tons of books. We've got a bunch out on the table up here as well. So yeah, if you enjoy reading, there's a ton of them. We're not gonna stop, look at that. A few for kiddos though, working with kids, and I think most of these are for younger kids, except for that top line. Have you heard of the book Braiding Sweetgrass? Okay, if you haven't, I really recommend reading it. It's powerful, and I guarantee you will look at nature in a different way if you read that book. But they've done an adapted version of that for teenagers with like prompts for guiding teenagers to reflect in nature. So that's kind of a cool resource. That's up on the table. And then a few of the storybooks here. And I know Laura's used a lot in her mindfulness work that she does. And a couple of these I learned of because of Laura. But Here and Now is a great one. Outside In, I don't have a copy of that one. And I just came across this one too. Slow Down, 50 Mindful Moments in Nature. The Giving Tree, which I guess is like controversial now. I don't know. I grew up with that book and I still cry every time I read it, even when I read it to the kids at Riverside, every time. It's a powerful way to get people thinking about like our relationship with nature tends to be pretty take. But I think that's a great book. When Sophie Gets Angry and Wonder Walkers, those are just a few. There's a ton out there, and if you start Googling online, like how do you know if they're really good ones or not? Laura would be a great person to reach out to because she's used a ton of books with her kids. And there's a lot of curriculum out there. We're gonna have to wrap it up here. So I don't need to go through all these. You have this, you can explore it. Lots of cool stuff that you can access for activity ideas. I don't know if you all saw the calendars up here. We had an AmeriCorps, this was back in like 2013, 2014. And the idea was to create a calendar where every single day of the year there was a seasonal nature outdoor activity. It was geared for daycare providers. But you can adapt these. So this is a nice resource. There should be enough for everybody to take one. It's also online as a PDF. So if you want a digital copy of that, you can find it online on our website. Let's see if there's anything else on here. Laura is in the room. So I'm gonna if you're okay, Laura, put the spotlight on you for a second. Any of you want to tell them about Project Learning Tree?
Oh.
Because that is also incredible curriculum that has.
Sure. Who in the room are teachers or work with teachers? Okay, so if you're a teacher, this is lessons that you can integrate into your curriculum. It's basically teaching the academic standards you have to teach. You just do it outside, or you use these lessons. PLT, Wet, and Wild are all national curriculum, so you can go to any state and get them. But usually the only way to get the curriculum is to sit through a workshop. You can do it online now, but that's no fun. And these lessons are ubiquitous. You can use them anywhere, and they're great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few like free samplers you can download.
Yeah.
Which are nice.
On the Minnesota DNR webpage, there's like a bunch of free little handouts that go with the lessons. So if you're a teacher, there's freebie, easy ones.
And then the Indigenous lesson plans too.
Yeah, so during COVID, I contracted with somebody from the Fond du Lac tribe who wrote and adapted 6 lessons for about trees and forests for a Ojibwe and Dakota background. And there are freebie lessons online on the DNR website. You just Google it.
Like the legend of the star and the cottonwood tree.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some really cool things that you can adapt and take pieces of those and use them in the work you're doing. So, okay, that was a lot. I feel like I just like vomited up a ton of information at you guys. But okay, we're gonna move outside. So if you need to switch shoes or anything for that, we're gonna stay on the grounds. But once again, there are like chiggers in the gardens here. Just keep that in mind.